And as you would have seen in those last few clips, this is my Accord Type R, or at least I'm inside it at the moment. And as you can see, she's not perfect as mentioned before. And she doesn't smell great. So I've got an air freshener and a couple of things to hopefully improve the smell. For now, we're just going to work on some of her quirks. For instance, missing panels, or just ones that need reattaching. First of all, I'm going to have a look at the speaker system. I believe I may have a spare speaker in the MR2 from one of the other project cars, but that back left-hand speaker, as you'll see in a minute, is shot. And if you know me, I love my music. So first, before we do any of these clips, let's get that sorted. Never mind that, actually, this is going to go up first. Now, first of all, I'm going to check the MR2 because I'm pretty sure somewhere in here, if the lock isn't frozen, there was, aha! Don't question why it's behind the seat or anything like that, but there we have a now, this is not the best quality speaker, but it's going to be so much better than what I've got already. I'm just going to have to work out this wiring situation. But I've got the wiring kit in the back of the Accord. Ignore the headlining that's touching the top, but I've just grabbed my little kit here, which has got a couple of pry tools, pry bars, and screwdrivers. And then also our electrical kit in the front, which is going to come in great handy. And first of all, I am just going to pop off these speaker covers. This is the side we're replacing now, and I'll show you why it needs replacing, because it is bad. Excuse it as it's a bit of a tight squeeze in the back for me, but I should just be able to, hopefully without damaging, should be able to pry it up. I did pry it up with my hands the other day, so I might do that instead, because the clips are jammed on quite hard. And if you were questioning before if they needed replacing, I'd say so. If I put my finger hard enough on this, I bet it will crumble straight through. Now what I'm going to do is check to see, and I think the speaker should fit fine, but I'm going to make sure it does. But first, removing these screws, and then we're going to have to go into the boot to then disconnect the cord. Now I just have to find the right size and use a ratchet. And now I've been able to just lift this tray out, and then I'm just got to disconnect the plug. I thought I was going to have to do this from the boot, but apparently not. This job looks easier than I think, hopefully. May have spoke too soon though. Wow, the old cardboard speaker. I'm definitely going to do a satisfying video in a minute of poking through this. And yeah, there you go. The original speaker in this car has definitely seen better days. Fingers crossed the platform of this one fits. But first we're just going to plonk it down, and it fits the diameter. I'm just going to see if any of these screw holes line up. Hopefully at least one or two of them do, so I don't have to drill some new ones, but if not, it's not the end of the world. I'll get some drills out. Now, because these are temporary speakers, I'm able to get at least one bolt in, so as long as they're secure enough to my liking in a moment when I test them out, then it's just going to have to be how it is. Obviously, when I sort new speakers out, I will get some brackets or some adapters made by our friend James and get them put in properly, but these are just some second-hand Hertz. They're not the Pioneers that I am going to be putting in this car. For now, I'm going to take that bolt back out, and what we're going to do is we're going to test the wires and make sure the speaker works all right. First of all, we're just going to take a few pieces of test wire and make sure the speaker works correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these fittings and possibly some crocodile clips and attach them to the points on the speaker, get the music started up, and see how this speaker sounds in place of the old one. I know this looks elaborate, but a little bit of wire poked into one of the terminals onto a crocodile clip just to hold it securely, so then I can go turn the music on, and I'm just going to do the same on the other side. And I'll let you know if it works. Now that we confirmed that speaker's okay, I'm just going to have to figure out how to use these connections because this little unit here won't come off. But I'll give it another try before I go into something creative. Now that I've wired a temporary janky solution, I'm happy with the sound. Let's move on to the next thing. Now that's all back together, it's not perfect, but it's fine for now, and I'm happy. Next, onto the roof lining, which I might do a separate video for just because it's going to take a while. So let's move on to these trim pieces. So apologies for the bad lighting, it's getting really dark really quick here. This is our fix for now. You can't really see it and the door light keeps turning on and off, but it's off my head, it's off Lex's head. And yeah, we don't want to just rush and buy a fabric that we don't want, as we were saying. So let's take our time, let's order the right fabric online.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably some sort of suede thing.
Yeah, suede thing. Yeah, I was trying to persuade him to get like gangster crushed velvet, but he wasn't going for it.
I'm not doing crushed velvet because it's got to go on these pillars as well, so I'm not having crushed velvet down there.
It's kind of icky, not gonna lie.
But yeah, so we'll have a look online at a couple of options and we'll get back to you on this one. Seems to be a common fault on these Hondas, but this little clip here that goes up right there seems to have been glued before, and online it looks like this always needs gluing. So I'm just going to put a hell of a load of this stuff on and see if it holds. Now that I've put way too much glue on it, fingers crossed it holds, and I'll get the other panels off tomorrow. The glue is now dried. I may have gone a bit over excessive on it, but hopefully it's at the right angle so I can get it in. And that's in. It's holding nice and sweet. So that is the next thing fixed so far on the Accord.
This as well.
Look at this influencer. We're going to see if we can start to get some power, because I believe it was braking correctly before, wasn't it?
Braking, but when you have normal lights, so brake light, and then you've got your normal, just light, dark light, I don't know what the fuck you call it.
So the brake light's working?
Brake lights are okay, but it's this light. Look, let me, the keys in the car, I'll show you.
Let me give you the keys, hang on. Let me give you the keys. Let me give you the... No, it's the other stalk. Oh, gotta love the Honda dings.
Right.
Okay.
Now it doesn't look odd, but when you're driving, that one is way darker.
What I imagine it probably is a bulb there.
Yeah.
But we definitely need to work on this indication, so let's give it a start. Let's pull this back and have a look to see if it's just a small bulb issue. I fingers crossed hope it is, but we have the full electrical kit here for if we need to do further testings. So replacing the bulb for what I think was the right bulb seems to not be working. So we're going to get our electrical tester out, we're going to set it, and hopefully we get some voltage while the hazards are on.
Right, we got the voltmeter. Let's see if it works.
I think I've got it in the right setting. As I said, this is the cheapest voltmeter possible.
Timu special.
Well, not even, it's a Halford special actually. Halford's mechanic, you know what it is.
Is it doing anything?
It would be good if I actually touched the terminals. Let's try and do that, shall we?
This is 0 volts.
Let's ground on the chassis.
0 volts. That's pretty sick.
Let's try the other one.
Is it on the wrong setting? Oh, it just went up. Hold on. Go again. You got some volts there.
Very weak.
I wonder why.
There you go. No, so we are getting a connection. So I imagine...
Is that a strong enough connection though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That should be enough. So, as you know, we're definitely going to fix this as it should be fixed. So, essentially, someone has replaced, before in the past, this outer unit. Now, I could change the bulb, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to get this shim here. I'm going to put this shim in as so, and then we're going to twist the bulb in. That just spark grounded. Whoops, it wasn't supposed to do that. And hopefully that didn't flip the switch. Trip the breaker. I might have just tripped it. And pop the fuse. Ah, my hazard's not working now.
No.
And that is how you don't do this. Because basically I have just bridged. So we've popped a fuse. So we're going to have to find where the fuse is. Now, I don't know this car well enough, so we're going to have to go fuse box hunting. However, to help us, we have in the glove box, locked away so no one can steal it because it's quite hard to come by now, the original owner's manual. And it's in really decent condition. And inside this owner's manual, which is in, as I said, really good condition, should be where the fuse is. So let's see if we can find the page for that. So looking on here, we have hazards on number 17, which is under the bonnet. So we're going to grab a fuse from out the back, and fingers crossed we just slot it in and it starts to work. And with my collection, probably from old cars I pulled apart, I think this 10 amp fuse we're replacing it with has come off of a Toyota Aygo. So it is still Japanese.
Yeah, sure.
However, if I go to a junkyard, my pockets are going to be full of them. Now with the owner's book looked through, we have replaced that 10 amp fuse. So fingers crossed now, hazard should work. Fingers crossed that fuse doesn't immediately bridge. And hopefully we have an indication there, and we have no indication here. Great. I think I've put the shim in incorrectly. However, I don't want to pop another fuse, so let's probably stop the indication and see what we can do. And we are at a go. So that has now been replaced. That was way trickier than it needed to be. Back in the car, and the lighting is better this time. Next, I'm going to tackle this panel here, which there is a clip, if you can see, that is stuck there, that someone has accidentally broken putting in. I can't really tell because there's this box which looks like, I don't know if it should be here or not, to be honest. So I'm going to try and figure out to see if I have the right clip, and also replace some of the clips that are missing. So I have this clip pack here, and then I also have further clips in the boot as well, which I'll go get now. And also, while traveling back from that last trip, having a look at the coolant, I need to top the coolant up because the reservoir is looking mighty low. Now, owning old Japanese cars, we have hundreds of random clips and fixings. However, I think that it's one of these, so I'm just going to try and match it up with the correct sizing, and then hopefully be able to slide it, if you can see, in that tiny slot to then get it back into the side of the car. I had to slip the little clip in without recording just because it was a difficult angle, but hopefully now it should line up with this hole and go in nicely. And we are in, and that makes me feel so much better. That is one of the last few plastics that he's replacing. And then on the other side, I'm missing one of these push clips, so let's replace that one as well, because I think, there we are, the kit comes with quite a few of them. Now, I know from the last video a few of these were missing in the boot. I'm not going to replace these yet, as I want to refresh the entirety of the rear of the car. There's a lot of damp, and I want to do my own thing with the rear of the car rather than sticking with OEM. So I don't know what you call this sort of clip, but it should just, this one should pop in, and then the center should lock in and push everything else out. And yeah, that's in nice and tight and looks so much better. Now on to something that tends to happen quite a lot in our cars apparently, which is have a look at the coolant. Next time I'm going to add coolant, but what I've also noticed is that the hose of this line here seems to not really be the correct size, or it's got like a lot of play. So I'm going to look to possibly replace this clip, or just use a Jubilee instead and just tighten it down a bit more. It just didn't really feel right, and a lot of air came out when I twisted the top off this cap. But for now I'm just going to fill the reservoir and then go from there. Hopefully this doesn't go everywhere. And yeah, it's going to go everywhere. So the coolant is all filled, and to be honest, I've just pulled this hose out and it's got quite a lot of distance and it seems to be on okay. So I'm just going to monitor that to make sure it's okay. But for now should be fine. One thing I have seen is the power steering fluid I filled the other day has gone down quite significantly to like nothing again. So I hope it's not a leak or an issue with the power steering in general. I'm going to take a look at that, and also need to replace the air filter, but I've ordered one of those, so bear with. Now, I could be crazy, but round here is looking mighty gunked up from what might be power steering fluid, and the cap, I don't know if it's like these on these Hondas, is very loose. So what I might like to do is see if I can go down the road, get an O-ring to make sure that goes on, refill the power steering fluid. I have some spare in the back of the MR2 somewhere, and then hopefully this sort of issue stops. I'll probably actually take the MR2 to go get the part, just because I don't really want to be driving it if it's gonna, you know, spurt out power steering fluid the whole time. And as I said, probably one of the last things we'll do is the pollen filter, but we'll stick to this video on that. Off to the parts store, I guess. As the Accord is going to be somewhat of a daily for me, that is why I am dealing with these so quickly, or getting these things buttoned up. Tell me in the comments if you know these Hondas, if they're supposed to have an O-ring at the top of the cap. But what it looks like is it may have just been jumping out the top or not creating a seal. I have noticed that the power steering hasn't been as good as I would have thought for the year of car, but again, I don't know because I'm new to the car. Let's pick up some footage when I've either picked up the part or in the parts store, and we'll go from there. I needed one, but came out with a few, just so I've got a couple of sizes. We did measure up to make sure I had the right one, but there's no harm in picking up some extras for some bits. Now there's an O-ring there and some power steering fluid. Let's top this up and see if it helps. Now there's a nice new O-ring in the top and the power steering fluid is filled to the max. Fingers crossed that would have solved the issue. If not, the power steering pump is just located here, and the line's just here. So if I need to replace a couple of these hoses, which I wouldn't be surprised, then that is doable. I think the next thing we're going to do is the pollen filter. We just need to wait for that to arrive. Now some of the video might seem a little bit disjointed, and that was because I was going to show you the air filter process. However, it's a little more in depth of a guide, so I've decided to make that into a separate video. So for now, you'll just see these fixes. In the next video, we're going to be showing you the fixes for the air filter itself, and then after that, hopefully the headlining, and we'll go from there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comments below and follow along on the socials for more.